2017 is over, and thank God for that. It's time once again for the end of the year roundup for the movies I liked, disliked, and didn't even see. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the movies that I wouldn't call the best of the year, but are still deserving of a watch. And remember, this is just my opinion. Oh, and I'm not Chinese. I don't know, that seems to matter to some people. A lot. Check the description below for links to the reviews for each of these movies that I mentioned. And there is no ranking, implied or otherwise. And obviously, yes, I have a cold. Because nothing says start the new year off right like an illness. Always Be With You is a Herman Yao ghost movie. My needs were met right there. It's an obvious nod, continuation, of the Troublesome Night series, which partially explains why it felt like an old movie in all the good ways. It's not high art, and it's not great cinema, but it's got some great performances and some surprises. The biggest of which is that this movie has Charlene Choi in it, but it's in a fun that I didn't even mind. And that's no easy task. Color of the Game is another throwback to a bygone era. But unlike the execrable Husband Killers, this movie is fun, enjoyable, and doesn't wallow in misogyny. It does feature ninjas with AK-47s, fast pacing, and someone looking for a bullet by going in through the exit wound. That's not a euphemism. Cook Up a Storm was a Chinese New Year movie featuring Nicholas Tse as a guy who cooks really, really well. It's innocuous, disposable, and makes little to no sense, which really just means it's a Chinese New Year movie. But it looks really, really nice, especially the food porn. You've never been so close to food while it's cooking, and while it's not, art, it is highly watchable. Cook Up a Storm also gets extra points for being the only Chinese New Year movie to feature the traditional greeting from the cast at the end of the film. Most of those points do get lost because then there's like an Emperor Group music video, but I digress. Dealer Healer tells the young story of a Baccarat dealer who discovers she has the power to cure illness through the laying on of hands. No, it doesn't. It tells the true story of a drug dealer who tries to make up for a profoundly sordid past by helping the people he once victimized. It's not a perfect film, and you haven't seen wigs this horrendous since Dragon Tiger Gate, but the film's recreation of 1960s and 70s Hong Kong, as well as a number of very commendable performances, make it more than worth a look. God of War was a big-budget cast of dozens Chinese historical epic that made the Japanese the bad guys. But it was also a movie that spent time making each of its major characters seem like human beings and people you could care about. There's the typical grand narrative, but for a change, it seemed to involve actual humans, not one-dimensional cutouts. Bonus points for a duel between Sammo Hung and Vincent Zhang, and a shout out to Kitty Zhang for walking through most of the movie looking like a hand grenade trying hard to pull its own pin. That's not a euphemism. She could beat me up. Seriously. Kitty Zhang also appears, although not very visibly, in Legend of the Naga Pearls, a movie that owes more to League of Gods than Red Cliff. Wacky, overstated, and on occasion beguilingly inappropriate, this movie stands as a testament to the very obvious efforts put in by virtually everyone involved in the making of it. It's proof that there's no such thing as trying too hard. It's not great cinema, but you will find yourself rewinding the movie to see if somebody did just say what you think they did. And they did. Meow is a, mostly, child-friendly crossover from a Manning's Ad series featuring Louis Koo and an animated cat. No, really. But it's got some good performances, some shockingly good visual effects, and because it's a Hong Kong movie, at one point the cat tries to murder the entire family. Yuppie Fantasia 3 was another Chinese New Year movie, and the third installment of the Yuppie Fantasia series from writer-director Lawrence Cheng. The reason I enjoy his movies so much is that they feature characters that seem like real people, especially the women. Chrissy Chow turns in yet another surprisingly strong performance, and Hedwig Tam plays a tomboy. I didn't know what to do with myself. Yes, I did. I also really enjoyed watching a movie that I felt spoke to someone my age or at least close to it, as opposed to, teenagers. Like I usually say about Lawrence Cheng's films, it's a rare treat to walk out of a local romantic comedy actually feeling good about the way women are portrayed in it. And for that, I'm grateful. I don't have a daughter, but if I did, I'd want her to be like the women in Lawrence Cheng's movies. If I caught her watching Girls, I'd send her to military school with the goddamn Finkelstein kid. Son of a